And while we're doing that, we're going to call up our next group, which is aptly titled Group 6. It's Ian and Ness.
Hi.
Gentlemen, I think you know the routine. 7 minutes to pitch and 5 minutes for Q&A.
Definitely.
So once we get your screen loaded up,
all right. Judges are ready to go.
We can start. Why don't you load it up? And once it's loaded, you can start talking, and I will start the clock.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right.
You're ready.
Thanks. As we're approaching a full year of this quarantine and COVID, I just wanted to look back on 2020. And besides the obvious of all the crazy stuff that happened, there's two things that stick out to me. One is that when the lockdowns first started, the World Health Organization actually came out and they declared video games as a great way for us to be able to spend time together while staying safe. On top of that, the American Heart Association actually launched a program towards the end of 2020, which is an initiative to bring heart-healthy gaming into the world. What that tells me is that the large institutions in our world are finally starting to recognize that gaming and games industry is here to stay. I think this is a perfect time for us to bring out a new generation of games that's actually going to make us sharper, healthier, and happier. Without further ado, my name is Ness, and I'm here to present to you Battlecasters, the next evolution of digital card games. First, here's a short trailer. Well, that looked cool, but what is Battlecasters exactly? Well, Battlecasters is the next evolution of digital card games. With our unique twist of a destructible environment, we're able to draw players in to creating a massive microtransactions economy. And just how big, you might ask? Well, it's very large. The total games market globally was just under $160 billion of revenue in 2020. And even if you narrow that down to just our specific genre, it still made $2 billion in 2020. That is a massive pie for us to grab a big slice of. On top of that, Battlecasters is proud to support the fastest growing demographic in gaming, and that's women. On top of being on the platform that women most likely choose, which is mobile, we also have a creative and inclusive environment, which is making it really a great game to bring in both men and women and kind of shrug off the stereotypes that gaming tends to have. I want to give you a quick breakdown of the competition in the gaming space. So first of all, we have kind of the top right-hand corner. Now these games, they're fast-paced, casual games. I like to call them, they're quick to pick up, but they're kind of also quick to put down. And in the bottom left-hand corner, you have these slower games. They're harder to learn, but they have a deeper strategy that keeps players around for longer. The cool thing is that Battlecasters kind of stands alone in the top left-hand corner because it's fast-paced games. It's addictive, it's easy to learn, but has that deep strategy that's going to keep players coming back time and time again. How does the business model work, though? Well, it all starts with the core, which is our free-to-play. What that means is that you can watch that trailer, and you can download the game, and you can get in less than 5 minutes with no barriers to entry. That's what's going to allow us to build our massive community as fast as possible. During the course of the game, players are going to see all this awesome in-game content that they're going to want to buy. We're talking about champion skins, pets, emotes, and more. Through the social interface of the game, people can see the cool stuff that other people have, and they're going to want it too. And that creates a social norm of spending, showing off to your friends. That completes the cycle, and that's what keeps the economy moving and the money flowing. How does the marketing work, though? How do we get those people in the funnel? Well, being a game, we want to take advantage of as many threads and as many places to engage our players as possible. That starts with the traditional social media. So we have a massive presence on Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, and Facebook. We can run promotional ads, and we can do game event content through there. Most important, though, is our Discord. That's the largest social media platform for gamers. For those that aren't familiar, it allows you to do voice chat, video chat, text. We have a thriving Discord community of over 100 members. We're continuing to grow. We can also host events like tournaments and partnerships with other Discord channels, allowing us to keep player engagement high. The most important, though, is the influencers. These are Twitch and YouTube people who have garnered massive audiences, and this really serves as the backbone of our go-to-market strategy. The core idea is that an influencer might have a large audience of players that want to watch them play games. This is already in and of itself a huge industry. And what we're going to do is we're going to be able to partner with them in order to have them play our game, have the players want to see, and then want to experience that game as well. Because of our secret sauce, our unique twist of a destructible environment, players are going to see people playing these games that they can't experience anywhere else. They're going to have to come to us to get that experience. Our primary path is to reach out to independent YouTubers and Twitch influencers, but we also have a partnership with Xsolla, which is a game engine platform. They have a partner network. We can place bounties and get click through their influencer program. This is going to enable our massive user growth. What's our roadmap look like? Well, we started our development back in 2019. Pretty early on, towards the end of that year, we launched our alpha playtest with a small group of players. Since then, we've been working on iterating on that design, really making it the best game that players want to have, as well as growing our player base to just over 100 users. We have some goals. We're going to do our open beta towards the end of 2021, the player base of 500 players. And then at the beginning of 2022, we're planning our full launch, the player base of 2,000 and over. What's the analytics say, though? It's the most important part. We have an 88% retention rate for our playtest events. This means that 9 out of 10 people that came to play want to come back for another game. You can compare that to 40%, which is the industry standard for freemium games. On top of that, the average game takes only 7.5 minutes, making this a fun, fast-paced, addicting game. That's the perfect for the freemium model. Who's behind this? Well, primarily it's myself and my co-founder, Ian Waters, but we also have a large team of volunteers who do programming, artistry, animation, sound design even. These are the people that really make the game come alive. I'm happy to work with them. We also have a mentorship team to help with legal and business advice. Well, how can you help? Well, primarily we're looking to partnership with an established publisher in the games industry. We think we've built a really amazing product. Just looking for some support, marketing, outreach to players. That said, thanks for listening to the presentation. Do check out our Discord at discord.battlecasters.io. Feel free to call me. My name's Ness, and thanks for listening.
Right on time. Congratulations.
Perfect.
Great 7 minutes. Okay. Now it's up to the judges. Judges, you have 5 minutes.
I'll go. Ness, that was a great presentation. Tell me about what's the shelf life of a game? I mean, is there a point where after 2 years, people are looking for something else? And if that's the case, what are your plans to be not just a one game company, but multiple games, or what's the longevity path there?
Definitely. That's a great question. So with games, it does tend to vary. But our goal with Battlecasters is really for it to be what's called a living game. So that means that in a traditional game, you might do a release cycle where you build the game, then you put it out and you sell it for a fixed cost. That's really not what we're trying to do. We're trying to go with more the model of the living game, which means that we're going to come out with our initial game, but it's this massive multiplayer game. We're trying to really build a community, which means that we have to stay around. And so we do have plans to continue to release content and continue to engage players pretty much indefinitely, basically until, they do eventually run down. But one of the biggest ones, League of Legends, that follows this model, has been going strong for 10 years, and they've grown into this massive, multi-million-dollar company that shows no signs of slowing down. So that is really our goal with Battlecasters, is to continue indefinitely.
Got it. And then you mentioned during your pitch focusing on maybe women customers. Mm-hmm. How do you do that? Is it because the characters don't have big bosoms, so they're not offensive to women, or what about it might appeal to a woman?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I could chime in about that. It's really focused on that women love to play strategy games. So a lot of trying to get women into that place. We want to sponsor women streamers, women of color in particular, LGBTQ plus. Those are really prime things of integrating women into gaming. Of course, it might be the more younger crowd, millennial, Gen Z kind of new take, but that's really how we're trying to usher in influence.
Got it. Thank you.
Hey, Ness and Ian, good pitch and congratulations so far. I don't fully understand the market, but I do appreciate and can see scrappiness and creativity and how you've built this. 18 volunteers and creating this organic growth. I'm curious though as to, I want to talk about the business model and monetization a little bit. I can see a path where you obtain a lot of users and traction with the game in and of itself, but how do you translate that outside of in-game purchases? How do you move folks off the premium model? Is there a paid model? Your presentation refers to $5.62 per user on average, but how do you get there?
Good question. Yeah, thank you. I think, well, definitely there's a little bit of a diversity here. So we want to have a couple of revenue streams available. And so one aspect that does not involve, paying customers would be the monetization of the user data, which is something that we definitely want to explore as we're hitting those large user numbers. But I would say the second thing is I think, I'm hesitant to say, I just would say that, I wouldn't sell short the in-game purchases. I think that is really the core of how we're planning to monetize these in-game users. The idea is that once you get a game with a lot of users, a large enough user base, you get these people that are called whales. And so the core idea of the market is that the whales are going to pay for the majority of users. So maybe 80% of your market is not really, they're going to pay a small amount, but these whales are what's going to pay for the whole thing. And you just find this in every industry. If you have enough users, you'll have that, 20% of people that really love the game and they have the budget to spend a lot of money. So having a lot of cool in-game content that they're going to want to be able to spend on is really going to allow you to just continue to get value out of them time and time again, rather than charging up front where they can just pay $60 once, but they really can't do anything else. We just think it's a superior model.
Okay. So
and on the topic of, I just want to say for conservative players that are less likely to make purchases for other games, they'll tend to do more purchasing here. So you have a easier time getting a microtransaction instead of paying like $60 for a whole game, right? People don't like that model anymore. They want to test it out and then try to build up all the money and then pay for that kind of stuff.
I can attest to the in-game purchases because my daughter bugs me like every night to like pay for an in-game purchase.
Likewise, I just wanted to understand a little bit. Premium to me meant converting to a paid user. In this case, they're going to pay by the in-app purchases.
That makes sense. Definitely. Okay. Yeah.
What's left to do in your in development?
Good question. Good question. I think that what we have so far is we've been really focusing on this core experience, and that's what we've been able to do with the playtesters. So that's like when you sit down and you go and play through a full game, we're really making that as good as possible. What we still have to do is just kind of build out our store and then just a few of the little progression systems, which I really consider just to be kind of icing on the cake to really lock it in and give that long-term value to the players.
All right. Well, thank you very much, guys. That was great.
Thanks.
Great presentation. Good Q&A. Congratulations.
Nice job. Thank you.